So as Mark, ladies and gentlemen, it's a privilege to be here today and be your Thrive Together Peace Programme Manager. I mean, collectively in this room, there is a wealth of knowledge and experience, some of which we need to push out to everyone who's out there because we have some good information to share. I'm going to go on to the first bit of a recap. Anna has already stolen my sandwiches for some of this, so I do apologise for parts of it. But as it says on the screen there, this is phase 2 of BPP, and Thrive Together is a UK-wide programme which started in 2024 and finishes in March next year, which is built on the BPP. It expands beyond veterans to include their families this time, aims to create a more connected, sustainable support system. So the programme focuses on the following: empowering veterans and families through accessible physical and mental health support, creating connections by strengthening community networks and collaboration between organisations. We've heard about that already today. Building futures by developing long-term partnerships for sustainable services. So it brings together miniature charities and other organisations to provide coordinated and easy access support pathways. And Thrive Together aims to improve well-being, enhance collaboration and ensure lasting resilience support systems for veterans and their families across the UK. Now, we've heard a lot about the different phases around there. So phase 1 initially was the Peace Well strategies and gap analysis, and we're currently in phase 2, as Anna mentioned earlier on. But in the phase 1 part, there was a consultation period to get all the evidence of information and stats and stuff that we needed to go forward. So this process is designed to gather that inclusive input from veterans and the families and the carers across the region. We've got to think about the carers as well. It's not just the veterans, it's the families. The carers are a really important part of this. It involved key stakeholders in our region and used tailored surveys, promotional campaigns and targeted workshops so we can get more information. Multi-sector steering groups guide this process, while existing networks and media channels were used to maximise that engagement, so all the hubs that are all out there in our regions. Surveys were carefully designed and tested with veterans, because they're the important parts of here right now, and analysed using internal expertise. Collaboration with the Armed Forces Covenant Fund Trust helped extend this reach. We thank them for that, of course. And the consultation provided valuable insight into veterans' needs and the planning for the future. So what are those needs? So here are the first 4 projects of the 7 or 8 up on the screen. So the first project was the hubs and drop-ins, which a lot of these partners here are delivering. Project 2 is pop-ups and mobile awareness, as we heard earlier on. Project 3 is transport and access, again, where we live, it's quite difficult to get into different regions. And Project 4, mental health awareness. You can read the other bits on the right hand side of that. Can you read them out here? And then Project 5, rebuild self-esteem. Project 6, veterans and care homes, which is really important. Project 7 is the digital network that Anna was talking about, and I'll talk a bit more about this later on. And it's really important that we push that. And then Project 8, which is a bit that we've used for extra funding to cater for the LGBTQ plus support, which we think is also necessary forward. These are the projects, 1 to 8, and these obviously are the teams behind it. A lot of hubs and drop-ins you can see there. And across the screen you can see where everyone is currently working. And these are some of the stats that I want to put to you today. So direct beneficiaries, 1,965 people will be directly affected. 2,544 indirect beneficiaries, so families, carers, supports. Out of this, we've got 235 referrals in to the projects, and we've had 138 referrals out, so an impact is there. And to bear in mind, we're in phase 2 still currently, and we still have 6 months left of this phase before we get into sustainability. So you can see the impact is really growing, and this sort of event will help that grow further. Okay, what I'm going to do now is hand you over to the funded projects. They've all got 3 minutes to Frankenstein type thing to sell themselves a little bit, I guess. So 3 minutes. Have you got a microphone?
Sorry, can we?
One's coming this way.
We're going to let take people touch the microphones because we keep messing them up.
Best laid plans.
Thanks. Nice. Good morning, my name's Leanne. I am from the Poppy Factory. I am the London Armed Forces Project Manager, but I'm also an employment consultant for the East of England. And since the Poppy Factory has been involved in East Thrive, we've seen our referrals almost doubled within that time. Today, I've got 3 minutes to tell you about one of the clients that we managed to support in that time. This client was an RAF weapons engineer, and he absolutely loved what he did. Unfortunately, he had a very severe civilian accident, and that meant that he was medically discharged, that he was then going to become almost a full-time wheelchair user. His first daughter was born prematurely at 6 months, and due to that, he almost lost her and his wife in that process. He, like many veterans, was just trying to stay strong for his family. He found his employment. He found himself into the insurance sector. Very quickly found it was a very high pressure environment, there was a lack of support in that job role, and that's when he reached out to the Poppy Factory. When he met myself, our first thing was to have a look at and open structured conversations with his employer and with his HR team. We negotiated reasonable adjustments and helped him advocate for what he felt like he needed in his current job role. That ended up that he was offered a settlement agreement. In that, we helped him understand what that settlement process meant and to negotiate the terms of confidence that he needed. And from that, we managed to secure an extra £5,000 ex gratia payment as part of that settlement agreement, which means he then had a lot more breathing space for him and his family for this next point in his life. In that same week, we both attended the Mission Motorsport transition event at Silverstone. And this was his first ever time exploring work as a wheelchair user. He was naturally incredibly nervous. He packed 3 t-shirts because he was adamant he was going to sweat through all of them just talking to these new employers. But beforehand, we looked at his CV, we talked about the employers that were going to go there, and we talked about how he could talk about his disability with confidence with these new employers. And the result was that he did only wear 1 t-shirt, and that he had some real positive conversations with employers. So where are we today? This week, his medical team actually confirmed that the amputation of a part of his leg is going to happen sooner rather than expected. So yesterday, we actually closed his case, knowing that he's got support in place for that, and he knows that he can return back to us at any point if he's ready to turn back into that employment. So I'm sharing this with you today because I think it's important to share that employment support isn't always about getting someone into a job. It is about stabilising the family. It is about advocating for adjustments. It's about building confidence and being consistent to the point that we can't just we support veterans and their family members into employment.
I better put my glasses on first, otherwise I won't be able to see what I'm reading.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Kate Hinchcliffe. I'm the Armed Forces and Support Programmes Team Lead at Suffolk Family Carers. We provide support, advice and guidance to family carers across Suffolk, including those from the Armed Forces community. So Thrive Together has given us the opportunity to develop Your Space, which offers family carers of veterans, who are themselves carers, the opportunity to have respite from their caring responsibilities in a welcoming, supportive and safe environment. It's important to actually recognise that family carers often need time away from the person they care for, allowing them to talk openly and honestly without judgment, and that's a really big thing for a lot of our family carers that we work with. Your Space aims to reduce isolation, foster relationships and improve mental and emotional wellbeing. The project consists of monthly 2-hour drop-in sessions held across Suffolk, including Bury St Edmunds, Claydon, Sudbury and Lowestoft. Sessions are hosted in a variety of welcoming venues such as coffee shops, an arts centre and also the Law Kitcheners in Lowestoft. Feedback from our family carers highlights that taking time away from themselves can also be challenging, and that may be due to the need to arrange replacement care for the person they support,
and also anxiety about being away from the person they care for is massive. To address these barriers, in October we held a meet-up at the Hut in Felixstowe, which was open to both the carer and the cared for person. Staff were available throughout the event to offer advice and support, and I'm told that everybody enjoyed the fish and chip lunch together. I missed out on that one that day because I was somewhere else. Following the success of this event, we'll be holding 2 further inclusive sessions in April and June. I'd like to acknowledge the strong partnership working that has developed throughout this project, and we're grateful to the organisations and individuals who have supported Your Space by providing venues and generously giving their time to attend sessions and offer advice. So I'd like to thank Ash and Caroline at the Lord Kitcheners, Kath from James Pageant, and also Chris Faulkner from Veterans Connect. With the continued involvement and support of Suffolk Family Carers volunteers, it's hoped that Your Space will continue long term with the friendships formed, helping to sustain the groups well into the future. I'd just like to share the following feedback from a family carer who's attended Your Space regularly with us. So she said, coming along to this each month means so much to me. It's something that others may take for granted. My husband suffered a massive stroke a while back. I don't get a lot of conversation at home other than when carers, professionals or families come to the house. When I come here, I get a chance to have a normal conversation, to get away from the same 4 walls and just be me for a little while, and I can't tell you how much that means to me. Thank you.
Hello, for those of you in the room that don't know me, because I already opened my mouth once, I'm Kath Hutton. I'm the Armed Forces Support Officer at the James Pageant Hospital in Great Yarmouth. I'm a Navy veteran myself, and I've been working in veterans welfare now for about 14 years. At the hospital, we support all members of the Armed Forces community, to try and identify them on admittance, and we support both inpatients and those living in the community in the hospital area of operations. We've been participating in projects 1 and 6, funded since April 2025. I run 4 community groups providing regular social activity alongside welfare advice and support. And many people in this room attend those groups to help support those veterans. We've held 8 veterans coffee mornings at the hospital since April. We've held 15 veterans wellbeing support groups and the Brew Butty and Banter group in Beccles. And we've held 19 sessions of Veterans Kitchen. Over that time, looking at attendances at the group, there's been over nearly 1,000 touch points at one of those groups over that period. We held special events for VE80 and Armed Forces Week, and we've been well supported by other local military and other organisations, and the ones that get involved in the groups to help them are our local RBL branches, Norfolk and Suffolk Foundation Trust, Disability Advice North East Suffolk and East Suffolk Council, so our thanks to them. Under Project 6, we've identified 79 care homes in the Paget area. 10 of them have had visits and 39 residents or family members have been supported so far. We've helped with VE80 coffee mornings, a remembrance afternoon tea, a presentation of a veteran's badge to somebody living in care, referrals to the RAFBF for support, carer support for the spouse that's either still living at home on their own or after a care home resident has passed away, facilitated befrienders from military associations, as well as ultimately providing military support for funerals, and also collaborated with Royal Star and Garter for the Veterans Friendly Framework accreditation and supported those care homes that are working towards it. I've got a quote for you from one of my service users. My husband joined the parachute regiment in 1956 when he was 17. Now 86 and living with dementia, he loves to meet up with fellow veterans to share his stories. One of the places where this happens is the Veterans Kitchen. He follows recipes and uses different techniques to produce delicious dishes. And the social side is so very important to him. Thanks very much.
Good morning, my name is Bob Mann, and I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today. I'd like to introduce Green Path Ventures, our vision for a community garden at Yarrow Farm in Colchester, designed to support veterans and members of the military community. Many veterans face significant challenges when transitioning back into civilian life. These include anxiety, depression, PTSD, and just as importantly, a loss of structure, identity and community. While the existing service available, many are clinical, difficult to access, or simply don't resonate with those that are trying to help. Green Path Ventures offers a different approach. The heart of our model is simple but powerful idea. Recovery happens most effectively in environments that restore purpose, routine and connection. That's where the community garden comes in. At Yarrow Farm, we created a space where veterans can come together regularly to take part in structural meaningful activities, growing food, maintaining land, and seeing tangible progress in efforts. This isn't just gardening, it's a framework for rebuilding confidence, routine, and a sense of mission. Alongside this, we integrate peer support, veterans working alongside other veterans, which is often one of the most effective ways to build trust and encourage engagement. We also create pathways onto further support, including counselling and employment opportunities, without leading with a clinical label. What makes this possible as a model particularly strong is accessibility. Individuals can join through informed drop-in sessions or more structured programs, often via referrals such as social prescribing, veterans organisations or some referrals. This flexibility reduces barriers and encourages sustainable participation. We also see that as a shared community asset, while the focus is on our veterans, there's a scope for carefully integrate the wider community, helping to reduce isolation and build stronger local connections. From an impact perspective, I aim to deliver measurable improvements in mental well-being, increase social connections, and a clear pathway back to personal activities, whether it's volunteering, training, or employment. Ultimately, Green Path Ventures is about more than sport. It's about rebuilding life through purpose, nature, and community. We're currently seeking support and collaborating to help us grow with this initiative. Whether through referrals, funding, or strategic partnership, there's many ways to get involved. Thank you for your time and look forward to continue the conversation.
Good morning everybody, my name is Steve Progan, I'm a Care Engagement Manager for Carers in Hertfordshire. So a bit like some family carers, we support unpaid carers, whether it be parents, husband, wife, or even a neighbour. So for example at the moment, my neighbour is 92, she looked after us when my daughter was seriously ill, so now I feel it's my duty to support her, because I think she's got the early on stage of dementia unfortunately. So in terms of this project, we did get 12 months of funding, which I kind of wanted because we were at a kind of different stage. So it's really kind of like a research. I saw it as a research piece to kind of understand the needs that kind of existed in Hertfordshire, with the aim of gathering that data to then potentially secure further funding for the future, going back to the sustainability piece. So probably you all kind of know this, but the feedback we get from carers, they often say they refer to services that do not kind of meet their needs. They feel these services around veterans are sporadic, which we talked about. And obviously that case where veterans and their families do not admit that they need the support or that they recognise that possible. And a big thing for me, which, and I don't want to sound this as being trite, but some carers fed back the period between kind of end of October through to New Year, with the celebrations around where fireworks are used, where Remembrance Sunday. So we will know the potential impact on the veteran, but when you hear the impact on the unpaid carers and what they then have to deal with, where one carer shared that her husband kind of went into full flashback within the family home. So she is then having to manage that. And then obviously what we talked about is, so as a professional I will have support when I'm dealing with difficult situations, but for her, post that experience, there's very little support. So these kind of feedback is really crucial to us. And then my colleague Ian, who does most of the work, I feel like I'm taking credit for a lot of this. So Ian is also Ian's our engagement worker, so he will develop relationship with professionals. So that includes obviously the Hertfordshire Government Board, Partnership Foundation Trust, which is the mental health provider, who are quite proactive actually in supporting veterans. We've also got some coaching and delivered some training to us around veterans awareness for our staff. Our main challenge is that consistency. It's that consistency of engaging with carers, and I imagine towards some kind of campaign, Jonathan briefly earlier, based on those feedback we get from carers around this kind of fire. Thank you very much.
A huge thank you to the Bridge Bureaus for organising such a fantastic event today. My name is Lily Bogue and I'm a project officer for Healthwatch Essex. As part of my role, I lead on our work to support the armed forces community alongside our engagement manager Scott Tatum. Healthwatch Essex is an independent charity set up under the Health and Social Care Act, and we use your voice to improve health and care in Essex. We do this in different ways by undertaking research and engagement, helping to uncover people's lived experiences. As part of our work, we run an Armed Forces Community Working Group and Primary Care Network, which follows a cross-sector networking approach. It connects military charities and support services with healthcare services and local authorities to share updates, identify service gaps, improve joint working and resolve issues locally. A little shout out to Harper Brown for helping set that up as well. As part of our Thrive Together work, we've been doing 2 different projects. A Veterans Mental Health event, which is being co-produced with the Armed Forces community to reduce mental health stigma. The second project involves delivering mobile awareness stands across Essex to increase public awareness of different support services. And we're doing this project in partnership with the Mid and South Essex Foundation Trust and Healthwatch Suffolk. Key achievements from this work include the growth in engagement within our networking forums, building collaborative relationships and improving joint working, connecting support services and healthcare providers to improve care, engaging with the community to uncover their lived experiences, and learning from other organisations on how we can improve our work and our outreach. Over the next year, we hope to expand our networks and engagement, continue to explore and research different topics impacting the armed forces community, and most importantly, continue to uncover the lived experiences of the community to influence health and social care service design, policies and decision making. More information about our work is available on our website, but we also have a Healthwatch Essex stand downstairs, and if anyone would be interested in learning more, you can get in touch with myself or my colleague Luke, who's helping me today. Thank you so much.
Sorry, morning everybody, I'm Henry Howard. I'm the head of the anchor programme for Mid-South Essex Foundation Trust. We are the largest employer. Our 3 hospitals, Basildon, Southend and Brewfield in Chelmsford. We are the largest employer in the east of England with 16,000 people. And we have a gold standard for our defence employer gold standard piece, which part of my responsibility as the anchor programme manager is our Veterans Aware accreditation. So the work that we've undertaken with Thrive Together project is very much part of a slightly bigger package called the Veterans Aware Pathfinder that involved defence welfare, medical service. I probably got that in the wrong order. But this was part of our mobile awareness, our pop-ups, and statistically across those 3 hospitals in any month we could see potentially 750 armed forces, but mainly veterans. So this is kind of large scale. The really great thing about the funding, it enabled us to work with colleagues who are also funded, but together with the DMWS offer, enables us to engage with many of you who are present in, let's call it the Essex system, for want of a better word, in trying to connect up services and provision and awareness for our veterans and armed forces. So that's the good part. As Anna indicated earlier on, some of our challenges are very much about identifying those veterans. we've also had some further challenge in sometimes through our defence welfare medical offer actually being able to source some of the outcome-based solutions for those veterans. So it's not necessarily easy stuff. But the work that we're really undertaking is about proving the value of all of this. So I'm now addressing that sustainability elephant in the room. And the way I can do that is to help to prove the case across our health system that these approaches really do save money, both in the acute hospital, reduce bed time, transport home, better discharge, better wraparound and joined up and services for our most vulnerable veterans. And then the further, so we say biosocial support that happens in our communities. That's a very NHS medical world for wraparound around isolation, loneliness, all of those types of issues. But I need to be able to identify those veterans in order to be able to identify what those savings are. So my call to action is for all of us to work together, certainly all of those in Essex, to be able to support that, because the drive is, and when we talked about the sustainability left shift, this is about moving support from communities to our neighbourhoods, all 36 in Essex. Thank you.
Good morning everyone, my name is Matt Salter, I work for Fighting with Pride, so we support the LGBTQ plus veterans that were discharged prior to 2000 when the ban against them was lifted. So if you think 2000, it wasn't actually that long ago that things changed, so if you didn't know prior to that it was illegal to, for example, be gay in the military. And then the ban was lifted in 2000. So Fighting with Pride had been running for 6 years. I only joined them back in July of last year, so majority of my role has been a lot of networking events like this, veteran drop-ins, work with the NHS, work with local government and the councils to essentially spread the word of the work that Fighting with Pride are doing, and to support veterans with whatever support they may need, whether that's mental health, whether it's physical, whether it's housing, financial, or just kind of general one-to-ones to give them the support that they need. Because as you can imagine, these veterans went through an awful time, a lot of trauma, a lot of abuse, a lot of bullying, people were imprisoned, so there's a lot of complex cases that we deal with, and it's up to us to get them to the place where they need to be. There's also been a big push on excuse me, financial reparations. I don't know if any of you have seen that in the news. So anyone that was discharged is actually entitled to claim up to £70,000, which in the grand scheme of things isn't much, but it's a gesture for what they lost in terms of their livelihoods, their career and their family. So that's £50,000 discharge payment and up to £20,000 for impact in terms of what they actually went through. So a big part of my role, as well as the supporting, is supporting with the financial reparation process. In terms of challenges, I haven't had many apart from trying to actually find new veterans, but also in general the groups that I've been to have been very welcoming, but there has been the odd one where unfortunately they haven't been as welcoming, so that's been quite difficult. But like I say, the main challenge is finding those LGBTQ plus veterans, which is proving quite difficult. So if there's any groups that anyone can introduce me to, I'd be really appreciative. And just in terms of where I'm going, what I need to do, again, without repeating myself, I need to find more veterans. I appreciate that some people don't want to come forward because of what they went through, and we all know that veterans sometimes take time to actually ask for help, but if anyone can introduce me to certain groups, I'd really appreciate it. And if there's anything you take away from today, if you could just speak to someone today, your partner, friends, family, just mention Fighting with Pride to spread the word. Thank you very much.
Good morning, my name is Dr. Joanna Page. I'm the Service Director of the Veterans Community Network. If it feels as if time is slowing down with my presentation, I've got 6 minutes, not because I'm special, but because we were really lucky to be awarded 4 projects under the Thrive Together programme. We've got a long partnership arrangements with Bridge for Heroes, being part of BPPP, and then Thrive Together. I'm going to work backwards with Project 6, finding veterans in care homes. So what you see in front of you is a piece of work that we've done with not just veterans in care homes, but linking in with our pop-ups and our drop-ins and our information stands. So this is kind of my version of the Bailey tapestry. For those of you who don't recognise Lepage, that's Guernsey French, I'm from Guernsey in the Channel Islands. I've always wanted to do my own version, and this is it. Last year we had our 5th anniversary, and it also coincided with the 80th anniversary of the VJ Day. So I'm responsible for designing all of the panels, but we've gone all around the county, so we support through Thrive Together, Bedford, Bedfordshire, Milton Keynes and Luton, taking this out, rolling it out, getting people to put some stitches in, and then giving them a certificate. And one day, who knows, those might become quite valuable. It was meant to be a fundraiser, but I'm rubbish at asking people for money, so knocked that one on the head. Thank you, Ken, my wonderful assistant. Never thought I'd get a chance to say that. Please excuse my green red. So looking at Project 4, which is mental health stigma. So I'm not a veteran, but I did 10 years in the police. You can boo after, if you don't mind. I was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, and my ex-partner is a veteran. So I'm one of the people stood up here that has lived experience, walked the walk, talk the talk, got the scars. One of the things that I know from my previous life and experiences, going into therapy is really hard. Being into therapy, and it's one of the hardest and bravest things that you have to do. I'm an ex-police officer, I'm tough. We don't cry. Yes, we do. And that resonates quite a lot when I'm working with veterans. So one of the things that I learned through my own experience, gardening is cheaper than therapy, and you get free tomatoes. Do you know what? You want to get veterans into your service, get them to roll up the sleeves, get the fork, the spade out, dig, talk, chat, laugh, banter, chew the fat. People will then gradually become more relaxed. They start to open out. All VCN staff, and my colleague Wilf is here, are trained veteran peer mentors, so we know how to listen, we know how to hear, and we know how to do the warm handovers into treatment. No signposting, because you're just getting the veteran to have to repeat their story. So in terms of the mobile awareness and pop-ups, I'll put myself right out there. It's quite daunting, but I found that the tapestry was an incredible way, because people would come up, oh, what are you doing? Now, the kind of like the sassy thing did go through my head, but I thought, no, you're at work. Explain what it is that you're doing. And it drew people in, and it opened the door for that conversation. We've also used it in the hubs and drop-ins as well, in terms of statistics. So we have supported a rolling total of 128 veterans during the time. Month on month, it's around about 100. What we've learned about the hubs and drop-ins, give them food. Veterans like food, so we've managed to negotiate some quite good deals for breakfast. Do something a little bit different to get people, as long as it's legal and as long as it's safe, those are my two things. Whatever you need to do to get folk in. I think the other thing, we are truly co-produced. It's veterans supporting veterans at the absolute heart of what we do, because you know, I'm not stupid, I've got a PhD. But I can sit in my little ivory tower and decide what I think veterans want, and I would be totally wrong. Speak to veterans. Do you know what? One of the things we're starting to do, and I struggle a bit with this, if you want to meet veterans, go to pubs. Seriously, because the younger veterans, that's where they're going to be. Wilf has done a fantastic piece of work. There's 130 care homes in our area, 28 have been contacted, 62 veterans have been supported, including some female veterans and family members. The oldest person is 102. We've just managed to successfully support one of the first care homes to achieve their veteran friendly status under standard 6, which is fantastic. I'm very proud of that. I'm also really sad that when this project comes to an end, that work is not going to continue anymore. In terms of what our veterans say about us, we operate out of hours. Mental health is not polite enough to strike Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. One veteran, crisis on a Friday, comment, BCN saved my life. Thank you.
Can you hear me without this? I don't like microphones because they kind of feedback. Can you all hear me?
Yeah.
I'm Ken Dow from Veteran Central. We're based at West Raynham SHQ. Who's been to West Raynham? Put your hands up. If you've not been, the only way you'll understand it is to come and look at what we've got and what we're doing. We had 2 drivers to the project when we started in March 2023 with a derelict RAF station headquarters, abandoned in 1994 with 3 acres of grounds, and the weather and the vandals did that to it. But we were looking for a hub, somewhere we could work on to give veterans something to do, a sense of purpose. So 2 drivers. One is an aim, a sense of purpose, get up that day and do X with like-minded people. So example of that, 87-year-old ex-armourer, he lost his wife a few years ago, sat at home thinking, what do I do next? I've got nothing to do. Came to us, now he's our chief plasterer at 87, up ladders plastering ceilings and walls. He now says, by the end of the month, I want to finish that. By the end of next month, I want to have done that. It's that microphone, I think. So that gives him that sense of purpose. So if you join the project team, you can get that sense of purpose, something to go and do. So we have a 50-room building, 3 acres of grounds, 2 aircraft, a Canberra and a Hunter, and 2 Bloodhound missiles. It's not a museum. They're there as engagement tools. Some veterans don't want to plant or paint walls, but they want to get together and do something. When the 2 Bloodhound missiles arrived, and West Raynham was a base for Bloodhounds, we had 4 ex-Bloodhound veterans in the team. 8 more have now joined to work in the Bloodhound restoration team. So it's giving veterans something to go and do. Some of our volunteers come because the wife says, get out of the house and go and do something. So they come to us for a day and the wife say, thank you very much, you've made a difference to me, because he's actually now gone out of the house. So the sense of purpose is one driver. The other is that social isolation. So come along for a cup of tea, a bit of cake, a bit of banter, come to our monthly breakfast. So every month we serve about 50 veterans and their partners or carers with a free breakfast. So that's going really, really well. So that social isolation is very, very important. You saw a chart earlier, there's roughly 40,000 veterans in Norfolk. We currently engage with about 900, which in 3 years is pretty good, but we're missing 1 or 2. So this project with the awareness bit has allowed us to go out there and try to find more veterans. Because a lot of them out there do want to come and do something or have a cup of tea, they don't know it exists. Good example of that, we had our drop-in awareness in Swaffham. A couple came in and the wife said, please excuse my husband, he's kind of lost it a bit. Within 5 minutes, he was back as a 19-year-old in the catering corps telling fantastic stories. You could see her visibly relax and go and talk to somebody else in the room. So that's a really good thing you can do by getting together and just socialising. And day 1, chap came to see us, he's limited mobility. I'll just tell us, I'll finish this one very quickly. But Submariner, the catering team found out he liked washing up. So now he's OIC washing up. We think, because the Submariner's underwater, he likes washing up. Thank you very much.
So hi, I'm Helen Taylor. I'm part of a small dedicated team at the Butcher Heroes. As you saw in an earlier video, we run a thriving drop-in centre in King's Lynn, supporting the Armed Forces community across West Norfolk and beyond. Every month, more than 110 people walk through our doors, veterans, families, carers, and even some still serving. Each person comes with their own story, their own challenges, and their own goals. Our holistic, person-centred approach means we don't just offer support, we build relationships. Every day we provide a listening ear, group sessions, meaningful activities, and something simple but powerful, sharing a home-cooked meal together. Because sometimes feeling understood, valued and not alone is where real progress starts. We also work closely with local and national organisations to ensure specialist support is always within reach. with some holding clinics from our centre on a monthly basis. But just as importantly, we walk alongside each person on their journey, helping them build the tools, confidence and resilience they need between appointments and therapy sessions. We are not just a place people visit, we are a community they belong to, where people understand and support each other. Through our Thrive Together programme, we've taken this further. Using 15 years of experience and learning from others, we've created a clear framework for delivering this kind of support effectively. We've developed a practical manual and we offer demonstration-based training so others can adapt this model in their own areas. We're also reaching out to those who may otherwise go unseen, especially veterans in care homes and the LGBTQ+ community. Why have I got the ships? By working closely with care homes and other community groups, we're learning how best to connect and support them. This has helped us build strong partnerships in this area, which includes the Royal Star Garter and Fighting with Pride, helping ensure no veteran is overlooked, no matter where they are or what community they are part of. Looking ahead, our focus is on sustainability and growth. We need secure funding to continue running our drop-in centre, to support our organisations in developing similar hubs in their own communities, and to strengthen our partnerships with specialist services. Because by working together, we can provide the best possible support, helping those we serve find purpose, connection, and a true sense of belonging. At its heart, our work is about connection, dignity, and making sure those who are served are never forgotten. If you haven't already, please come and visit us in Kings Lynn. You are very welcome. Thank you.
Okay, still hear me? Right. Okay, inspirational, impact, it's all there. Hearing some of the stories and some of the quotes is unbelievable. For me, as a veteran, and I think for a lot of people out there, it certainly shows the massive impact that Thrive is having in our region. Huge impact. So thank you, and I'll applaud you both. All of you. And Jill, you are special, and this is you. Okay, I'm going to move on to the digital platform. No, I've not got a lot of time, so I'll have to skip through as much as I can with this, so I do apologise. So, you've seen this slide already. That's the Thrive Together homepage on the website. On the top there, you'll see members' benefits area. So if we click on that, it brings you to this page. It tells you all the benefits as a member of the network. I'll show you exactly what's on there. So, rather than say, there's a directory. The directory is on there for all personnel that join, organisations, roles, colleagues, so that information will be available as soon as you become a member. Learning systems, resources, very, very important resources. A lot of resources can be downloaded into this area where other people can share and see it. So again, emails coming out to 50, 60 people, this would be an area where people can go into and see their resources. There'll be industry news, events that we've seen already, this is on there, and of course newsletters as well. So that's very, very important. Can I just show of hands again, how many people are actually members of this? So yeah, we've got about 14 members at the moment, and the reason for that was to actually just push to see if the system was working, accessibility issues, anything like that to be ironed out. So that's phase one that was done. Before we get back. Okay, so on the bottom there, you'll see the members application area. So that's what button you're going to have to click to become a member. We'll take you to the subscription form. Straightforward. I don't have to explain too much on that. Information on there, as you see. Once you process that and you push the button on the bottom left, it will come, an email will come to me. So I'm going to get about 400 odd emails sooner or later saying, can I become a member? Can't wait for that. That email will then come, once I accept, and I have to vet everybody, make sure they are who they are, their organisations, their roles, and we haven't got somebody just joining because they like the idea, then I have to make sure everyone is as they are. Once that happens, you'll get an email back with a password. Once you join, and you are a member then at that stage, the idea here will be to go onto your user profile to update that. please don't put my details in there because I'm already a member. So put your own in, that'll be easy. So there's that area there to fill in, quite easy initially on that piece. Then what services your role provides. So this is what you provide to the person. You see all the different lists on there: addiction support, disability support, mental health support, whatever it may be. Tick them, that's important to tick those boxes. And then where your role operates. So in this region is where you operate as an individual or your organisation operates. I've ticked all those because I'm looking after quite a few people, but people will be purely in Norfolk or Suffolk, so that's quite self-explanatory. And then the last bit on this page is the topics of interest, which is really, really important for later on, and I'll explain that in a little while. So there's of interest, I've got more interest in that really if you want to, but that's what I've clicked on there, and you guys will click exactly what's important to you. That's important to get that updated as soon as you go onto that system. So it's quite handy to do that, please. Once you become a member, you then come to the members' homepage. It gives you lots of information on the top, as I mentioned before. Latest news, there you are, you're in the system. One of 40 at the moment in there, but there will be a lot more coming. So, looking at the resources part of that particular piece, this is where, as individuals members, you can upload documentation. This is where you upload documents. We've already got a few uploaded there already, you can see in certain areas. Now, of course, this system is new. It's working as it works at the moment. A lot of people join at the same time. It'd be interesting to see how it works. However, there's an area there where you can upload documents, which is really quite important. That then anyone come into that area can click on and look at those documents. Of course, I do get emails from various people in here actually with some really great information. And whereas if it's there, people can see it. It's submitted emails to help, you can see who's read it or not read it, but the information will be there. And as I mentioned just now, there is a phase 2 part of this. So phase 2, which is in the background at the moment, we're looking at potentially automatic email sends. So if you click those boxes subject to privacy, your interests, where you operate, information like that, the system will eventually automatically email you those documents, potentially going forward. That is something for phase 2 as we move on. So it's important to ensure that the user profile is complete. So, what are the benefits? I think one of the benefits actually speak for themselves. There's one area where everybody can put information and work together. An network that brings professionals and organisations working to improve outcomes for the veterinary community across the East. But all the information is in one area. Now, this is not to replace anything that's already out there. This is to enhance and help massively. The site and platform have been developed and licensed to use. Those licenses and that use has only come through recently. And so as we move forward now, we are looking at rolling this out. We have that to go forward. So you will get an email from the AC Management System, or you can go on now actually and join. I'm going to be in date with loads of emails pretty quick, I'm sure. But sure, please join and do that. That would be outstanding. And have everyone in here, and to push this network is something that we really want to do. And there's already been mentioned before that there are possibilities around the country. I know of 8 different regions that are doing this. This is just the East. This is going to be around the country pretty quick. So there will be a steering group that will look after my platform here, which will be me as a portfolio lead, but all other portfolio leads around the country will have a say in this. But of course, it's a new system, and we get there probably some areas to be ironed out, but feedback is key as well. We really want feedback. There may be areas on there that we haven't covered. So there is a technical team in the background that will support us with this, and we'll make those changes. It's something that we're all going to use, hopefully, and something that you're going to use. So if you see something there that needs to be looked at, or needs to be changed, please flag it up. Not just for us, but also for the other regions that will get this system pretty soon. So that is. Okay, I mentioned that it's not replacing anything, so Focus Connect, all those other good pieces that are out there, work, resources and connections, are always going to be there. And we've heard from the funded projects, so we've heard this morning sustainability is the next part for us. We've already heard from a couple of people that some areas may not exist as we go forward. The workshop that we're coming up to is that bit where we can get the funded projects in certain areas where they can talk a little bit more than 3 minutes. 3 minutes isn't enough, I understand that. But certainly they can pledge where things need to be supported or helped somewhere along those lines. That's the idea of that particular workshop. As you see, Thrive has already had an impact, not only in these, but collectively beyond in British Isles everywhere. We had Westmoreland manner. With Valor on the horizon, we need to ensure that all this hard work and effort is put to good use. The future of these projects and the future of those who we are supporting, our beneficiaries deserve what we all do, life and hope after the ministry. That's it from me, thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions for me or through here? We have got literally 1 minute.
It's not really a question, it's just a thank you. I'm Jo Dawson, I'm an Admiral Dementia Specialist for the RBL. I just want to thank some of the services that my veterans have used, like Kath, Bridging Heroes. It's been vital for them, especially the coffee mornings and things like that.
That's nice to hear. So there is an opportunity to ask questions in the second workshop a little later on, so by all means write those down and push them my way. That would be outstanding. Thank you all.